Good morning or good night, Gacha Kingdom. 2026, we made it. New year, old me. Here we come. More yaoi every single week. Well, I can't guarantee every single week. So, if y'all checked on Friday, I did upload a video. It was talking about blonde hoyo men, but Daddy YouTube, right around midnight, emailed me and was like, hey, so Varka and Vlin's, that was a little like Varka's arms around Vlin's and Vlin saying that he's going a little too hard. Like, that's a little bit too much. So they struck the whole video down. So, yeah, the channel's got a strike now, so I can't visually put stuff up, but like, I did a test video on my second channel, which I'll put at the end of this video if you want to, like, check out what kind of wacky ass stuff that will pass the YouTube system. One of my ops better not report that video. I swear to everybody. Talking about like doing backflips and spinning on it apparently is not enough, as long as I'm not like, adding the F or the X word or maybe even the P word in there. Oh my god. So yeah, just use your imagination. Channel yap over. Today's video's protagonists are going to be Manato and Seth, but mostly actually Seth. Believe it or not, I actually uploaded a video about 8 months ago talking about these two. That video is currently privated because I realized that I had my UID right front and center in the corner of the video, and I was like, oh man. And that video wasn't that great. It was really just like a channel update yap with like a sliver yaoi at the end. But I brought up the fact that the Zenless Zone fandom community, whatever we call ourselves, we didn't really like delve into Manato and Seth. Like, I was just surprised because with my experience with Genshin, with how much we messed around with Ito and Goro, like, we get Manato and Seth, again, like, they're not like the big size difference, but like, Manato is like one head taller than Seth, especially if you're looking at their models. Like, yeah, Seth is pretty built. He's like a sleeper build agent, like, will actually beat your ass. But like, Manato's like straight out of Guilty Gear. And I was just like, wow, we ain't getting a lot of that. Like, I will take bottom Manato, top Manato, switch Manato. Like, we were getting a lot, and we still got a lot nowadays. Like, Manato is like the equivalent of like Gallagher. We like the fire 4-star man. Like, Toma, thank you for your sacrifice, Toma, because we have gotten such great men. I realized that I was kind of done with Manato Seth, unless I had an idea like strike in a bottle. I was like, oh my god. I was like, wait a minute, like, Seth technically came back into relevance again semi-recently thanks to Banyue's first friendship Confidant Persona Aha as gameplay rank, when you first trust rank with Banyue, and Banyue is at PubSec, and Banyue is like, oh yeah, I can't go into PubSec because like I'm made out of metal, and then like everybody and their mamas want to come over and talk to me, and like I'm like a big introverted guy, so like I don't really mess around with that. And Seth was like, oh well, I'm sorry, but like, is there any way that you can like teach us how to be an ass when we're out in the field? And Banyue is like, well, you could come to my dojo and we can beat ass there. And Seth's like, great, well, like I'll be there and like I'll invite everybody else. Like lightning in a bottle again. Like I was like, oh my god, wait a minute, lighter visual novel, and we get a sequel but with Seth in 2.0. Wait a minute, okay. So I'm going to present to you like a kind of like a demo version of a Seth Lowell Zenless Zone Zero, the visual novel type idea that I did a couple months ago with Lighter, but instead of Lighter being like at the end of 1.0 being like, damn, I feel useless, and then he goes around and becomes boyfriends with Wise, and then Seth, on the other hand, is like at the end of 2.0, when he meets, well, that would open up like the most amount of relationships that Seth has, because Seth already has like a relationship. This is the filler episodes, the recap episode previously on cashmoneyjk, where I made a video about how Seth Lowell was so dense, he's bisexual. where he's got a relationship with Jane Doe, because I was like, oh my god, it's Ada Wong and Leon Kennedy. But then like the Zenless Zone writing team was like, okay, wait a minute, what if they were like best friends, you know, with well, they were not best friends, but they used to go to the same academy and they were in the same class, I think. It's been a hot minute, but with Seth and Harumasa, and a lot of people were in Seth Harumasa because, oh my god, two twinks. Obviously, like, a lot of people were passing around the idea with Manato Seth, just not as much as I thought they were going to. But now the doors have opened to banyue Seth, which, if you really wanted to talk about size difference, that man, we talking about size difference. So the premise of the Seth Lowell visual novel will be looping around the idea around the Zenless Zone devs. I don't remember if it was a live stream or if it was like a dev talk or whatever, but they were like, oh, we wanted to add more members to PubSec, or the criminal investigation team or whatever. And we already know that Seth has an older brother, so if they really wanted to, they could make Seth's older brother playable, instead of like giving us kind of like a Damien NPC where they're like, oh, well, he's not like a normal looking NPC, but like he's an NPC. Okay, so the premise of this visual novel, the Seth Lowell Zenless Zone Zero, the visual novel, the premise is that after 2.5, when Shunguang gets the title of the Void Hunter, woo, yippee, and everyone's celebrating, yeah! Hollow Zero didn't get a sequel called Hollow 1, woohoo, yeah, we're not gonna die! After, like, everyone's, like, celebrated, everything's said and done, everything's chill, Seth Lowell gets the news from Big Brother Lowell that he's going to be coming back to the Janus Quarter offices in about 3 months. And he's like, oh my god, Big Brother's coming back. And then he gets a phone call from his brother, and he's like, hey, you know, I'm coming back to the offices. I'm excited to see you because the offices needed some backup support in the Janus Quarter because, like, some big things are happening, so, you know, as backup, you know, I need to be there for you, and some mumbo jumbo. But like secretly, like, his big brother is actually just protecting Seth because, like, he sees Seth, it's like Yuyan and Shunguang, like, I have to protect my brother because, like, that man is made out of glass, even though he's not made out of glass. I have seen that man shirtless. Your brother is not made out of glass, Big Brother Lowell. I don't think you have to worry about anything. He's coming back in 3 months, and because this is a visual novel, like, visual novel plot head ass, the parents are like, oh, I hope you have a boyfriend, girlfriend in 3 months. Okay, bye. And it hangs up the phone. By the way, if we do get Seth's big brother in about 3 months, y'all, call me a developer. Now Seth's panicking. He's like, oh my god, big man is coming back to the Janus Quarter. He's going to be working with me in the criminal investigation team, whatever their team is called. Oh my god, he's coming back. What do I do? And the next day, like, Seth is just like all off his rails. He's just like off in La La Land. And Jane, being the most observant out of the three girlies, she's like, oh, like, Seth's kind of like off his rockers. Jane, like, goes up to Seth, hey, are you doing okay? And Seth's like, I'm fine, like, Apollo Justice, yelling, I'm fine, exclamation points. And then, like, goes off and, like, trips on his tail and then, like, falls down a flight of stairs. I know that your big brother Mance is coming back in 3 months. How about you take a vacation for about a month, and then in the other 2 months, like, you could, like, chill. You could do, like, some, like, baby ass missions. So that's like, oh, but, like, are you guys okay with, like, me not being part of the team for a month? And Julian and Qingyi are like, nah, it's cool, man. Like, we haven't really gotten a lot of missions recently because, like, after, like, the gigantic Hollow 1 almost happened, there hasn't been a lot of crime recently, so we're all good. PTO approved. Seth takes a vacation leave, and then he gets a call from Wise. And Wise would be like, hey, I need some backup here in Wi-Fi Peninsula because there's a lot of like cleaning up to do, and we don't got a lot of backup, and everyone's hands are kind of like, like full at the moment. I heard from Jane that you're free, so like you want to come over. And then Seth looks over at Jane, and Jane's kind of like snickering. Day 1 of the visual novel. First day Seth gets to Phylum Heights, and you get like the stereotypical visual novel like city shots, and you're like, wow, this city's so bustling. There's some candies, there's some ice cream bao buns, there's a dog. He walks over, he meets 20, and then he walks over to Swabian Temple. He waits around for Wise, and then some of the disciples walk up to him, and they're like, oh, are you with PubSec? And Seth's like, oh yeah, I'm a PubSec officer from the Janus Quarter. Wow, you're so cool. But then like maybe there's like some like tourists in Swabian Temple, and maybe it's like the stereotypical old guy, and they're like, oh, PubSec hasn't done anything for us in Phylum Heights. Go! Oh, Manato and Yuzuha are there, and Yuzuha's talking with Wise, and the Manato pulls up an old man. He's like, hey, like he hasn't done anything wrong to us. The old man's like, okay, Manato, I'll only step down just because it's you. And then Manato's like, hey, my name's Manato. Oh, Seth. Oh, it's good to meet you. And then you get a CG of like them shaking hands, and then Seth's like, oh my god, like this man's biceps are humongous. Like his dog must be like the same size as my thigh. After the crowd disperse, Yuzuha pulls up on Manato and goes, oh my god, who's your new boyfriend? Are y'all getting married? Who's gonna buy the ring? It's gonna be a diamond ring? How many like little studs is gonna be on the ring? Oh my god. And Wise steps up behind Yuzuha and goes, Yuzuha, don't worry, this is the help that I got for you to help out in Phylum Heights. And Seth's like, I'm not helping you, Wise, I'm helping her. And Yuzuha's like, oh, don't worry, you're gonna be a temporary member of Spook Shack. Yippee! The defense force was gonna help us out in cleaning up Phylum Heights with all like the flowers and everything. Turns out that Hollow has a lot of ethereals after the miasma attack, so in about a month time they would come back. But Wise told me that you were free for a month, so I'm gonna have you and Manato do a lot of the civilian helping, because it seems that you two already have chemistry, while me and my girlfriend, Alice, we are going to go into Hollow, and we're going to mess around with ghost stories, because there have been a lot of them recently. And then Seth pulls out one of those huns. Manato and Yuzuha leave, and then Wise shows you an extra room that's not being used in Swabian Temple, and Yishun said that you can use it, and Seth is like, yippee! And then like you go to sleep, and then you go into day 2. But if you have a save file with Lighter Zenless Zone Zero, the visual novel, that room is actually being currently used by Lighter. And Wise is like, oh, actually the room that is supposed to be yours for the month is still currently being used until tomorrow. And Seth's like, what? So you're like, well, did you forget? And Wise is like, sorry. You walk into the room, and it's Lighter, and Lighter goes, Seth, and points at you, and then you point at Lighter, and you're like, Lighter? And you explain it to Lighter, and Lighter's like, oh, that's cool. I was just hanging out with Wise because like we're boyfriends now.
The next day,
go into day 2, and then you wake up, and then you smell the scent of pork buns. So you follow the scent because you're fucking starving, and then that's when you meet Yinhu. And Yinhu's like, oh, you must be Wise's friend. And you're like, yeah, I'm a PubSec officer. I'm staying around for a month. And Yinhu's like, oh, great. You should eat some food while you're here. We got extras and plenties. Don't worry about Jofufu. And Fufu's like, oh, man, I got here first. Oh, what? Lame. And you eat some pork buns, and you're like, damn, this shit is bussin'. And then you get like maybe there's like a CG of like Yinhu wiping off the sweat, and you're like, oh man, oh wow. And yes, we will have a relationship with Big Man. After having an amazing breakfast thanks to Yinhu, you go back over to Wise and Lighter, and again, if you have a save file with Lighter, the visual novel, you go over to Wise and Lighter, and they're like, hey, do you know how to hook up with people? And you're like, what? This is when you get like the stereotypical visual novel mini game game, aha ass gameplay, whether it being like the Suika game or Bejeweled or fucking Honey Pop looking ass gameplay, Tetris, I don't know. And then like Wise and Lighter start stripping together, and then Lighter is like, hey, you know, like I got a morning problem, so don't you PubSec officers know how to deal with this situation? And Seth's like, this is where you get the demo's research scene after the gameplay tutorial, where if you don't have a save file with the Lighter novel, then it's just going to be Seth cracking Wise. But obviously, now that Wise and Lighter are here, Wise is like, oh, you can mess around with me if you want to test out your equipment. And Seth's like, really? Are you sure? Because like Lighter's right there. And Lighter's like, well, I'm going to show you how to do stuff with your behind. And then Seth, yeah, you know exactly what kind of CG I'm thinking about, right? Wise, Seth, Lighter hugging his tail and cracking him while Seth is cracking Wise, and like Seth like passes out. Now that Seth is passed out because he's overstimulated and he seems like he needs some rest, so Lighter Wise decided to take a round too, because Lighter has to make sure that his boyfriend remembers that Wise's boyfriend has the best around in New Eridu. So they take a round two, and after about an hour, Lighter cleans off Seth and then fully clothes him. Seth comes to his senses. He's like, oh, thanks, Lighter. And Lighter's like, no problem. All right, I'm going to head out now. Bye, Wise. Bye, Seth. And now you have the room entirely to yourself. Woohoo! The demo goes on to day 5, and maybe around day 3, you meet Banyue. And Banyue comes over to Suibian Temple, and he's talking with Wise, you know, talking about training and stuff, because Wise is still not really that strong. And Banyue is like, oh, Seth, you know, how is your training doing? And Seth's like, oh, Banyue Shifu, it's going great. And Wise is like, oh, you two already know each other? Oh, yes, he's one of the strongest PubSec officers that goes to the dojo. And Wise is like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And then like a little CG about like you sparring with Banyue, and then you go into day 5, and then the demo ends, and then it shows off that, hey, you know, the main route is with Seth and Manato, but like there's extra routes, like you can befriend the cook, befriend in quotations, befriend Pan Yinhu and your Shifu Banyue, and there's currently 2 other routes that you can go that are currently under development, and then it's like 2 blacked out silhouettes. Oh wow, I wonder who they are. I didn't expect this recording session to end up being a Seth Lowell the visual novel. The two ideas of a visual novel under my belt. But just like the Lighter Zenless Zone, the visual novel, it's just an idea. If I ever really go through with this, I'm going to need a lot of help. Like, I'm going to need somebody that knows how to use Renpai, the artist, because I'm not going to be using AI to do the CGs and stuff like that. So it might be like a future endeavor. My idea is still like the Lighter visual novel, but like a Seth visual novel. I don't know, that sounds pretty good. But if you do want to do a visual novel or like an AO3 novel, you know, like with this premise, then all I'm asking is for me to be credited as an inspiration or an inspirer. If you do end up making a Seth Lowell visual novel, and let me know, I want to play it. So yeah, that's about it. If there's enough people that hop on to the comments and are like, do a full video, I want to see a full video about how you envision Manato cracking Seth, or like all these other men, and including one woman. Jane Doe clears though. Jane Doe clears. Just not now. I'm not too sure how to like place everything, because like we got done with the holidays and my brain hurts. So I hope we get a man soon. Dude, could you imagine though? Dude, if we get Seth's older brother in 3 months, though, dude, dog, I'm a developer, I'm a sidekick,